Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions. I wanted to make a follow-up video talking a little bit more and explaining what it is that I'm doing exactly with the money that I'm making and all the different businesses in which we have, right? Not only with just day trading, but I get asked this question all the time about what I do as in my long-term investments when it comes down to the profit that I make off the stock market as a day trader, and when it comes down to the series of different businesses that we run, right? We offer a series of different either online services, or we run a series of different online businesses. On top of that, I have rental properties, I have investment properties, and we also have a car dealership. We're one of the youngest people here in Arizona to fully own and operate a car dealership. Everything it is that I choose to do with the money that I make with any of my businesses, right, is not something that I think is perfect or the only thing that I should be doing. People think that because I do something and it works well for me, it's something that everyone has to follow or mimic as it follows, right? I think that we can all agree that we have our own taste, we have each our own desires, and a lot of you guys might either agree or some of you guys might disagree with what I choose to do with my money. And that's okay, right? We're all entitled to our own opinion. And I think that's the amazing thing about entrepreneurship, is that there shouldn't be a right or wrong of, people love to share their opinions of, well, if I was in that position, I would do this, right? If I was in Jeff Bezos' position, I would do this differently. And it's very easy to kind of look back and just judge someone when you have, in a sense, time to think about what's the right decision to make. But sometimes when you're, put in that position and there's much more going on than what meets the eye, it's just not as, black and white, right? And that's exactly what I wanted to talk about today. Is after I posted this video about me investing in my most expensive, in a sense, real estate investment ever as a hard money lender. It was a little bit over $500,000, and this is like my fourth or fifth property that I've invested in for 2020. So I'm off to an amazing start for 2020, and they began to compare me. First of all, I took it as a compliment, right? They began to compare me in comparison to other people on social media, people similar to my age, and that they might, buy more materialistic things in comparison to what I choose to do with my money. I think at the end of the day, when someone works for their money, they're entitled to do whatever it is that they want, right? And I want to share at least my opinion. I know with what I'm doing with my money now is something that I think more of that the general public would appreciate or would agree with. Like, yes, invest in real estate, yes, diversify and all that good stuff. But it wasn't always like this, right? I was, very young when I got into this market, and I was very young when my interest was sparked in wanting to learn more about day trading in the stock market. And let me tell you, when I wanted to learn more about day trading in the stock market, it wasn't because I wanted to buy a house, or it wasn't because I wanted to invest in real estate. It was because I watched the Fast and the Furious movies, and I fell in love with the GTR, and that's what sparked my interest. And that's okay. We have people that are motivated because they want expensive clothes, and that's what sparks their interest. I think it's less of what sparks your interest when you're first getting started, but once you actually end up building yourself to a point and you actually begin to make money and you get put in a position where you can then buy, in my instance, right, that GTR, or when you get put in that position where you can actually buy that expensive clothes, you begin to almost question, is this actually something that I want to do with my money, right? And I was put in a very similar situation when I was 20 years old. I was put in a position where I was 20 years old. I moved from California to Arizona. The cost of living was not very expensive here in Arizona, but I got pre-qualified for my first property at 20. And it was such an eye-opening opportunity for me. And I had enough money to buy a GTR, but again, with guidance, I decided to first invest in a property, and that led to something so much good. I ended up buying a GTR a couple months later, and I ended up buying, a bunch of different supercars. But again, that's always been something that's been a huge motivation of mine. I've tried to do it in a savvy way where we opened up a car dealership. I always tried to do my part in informing myself and educating myself about what a good deal is for these cars that I'm buying. I have a Lamborghini, I have a McLaren, I have a Porsche GT3 RS. And just like anyone that's learning about these markets, I'm put in a blessed position where I can buy these cars, and I've been able to resell a lot of them for a profit. But just like as anyone else out there, right? We all make mistakes, and there are a couple of them that I've taken losses on. But I think that's the beautiful part about what it is that we do. It's like, again, it's not so much about the judgment or the idea that we have to try to please everyone with what we decide to do with our hard-earned money, but I would at least like to be a friendly reminder, to be someone that empowers you to, if you are someone that is, interested in getting started in Amazon FBA, or getting started in the stock market, or getting started in starting your own business because you want to buy an expensive car one day, or you want to, buy a house at an early age, or you want expensive clothes, so be it. If that's what sparks your interest and if that's your initial motive, I think that's amazing, because that's that spark. And once you build yourself up to a point where you actually understand and you're informed enough to understand what is going on, you're going to realize that at the end of the day, at least in my experience, it's not necessarily the materialistic things that brings so much fulfillment. But once you get to that point, it's like, well, how can I keep this, system going? How can I continue to scale and make more money? And, some people continue to have that drive, and some people settle with the idea that, hey, I can buy expensive clothes now and I'm going to settle here. And I think that's great. Once you reach your goal, if you're content with that and you want to begin to enjoy the fruits of your earnings, I think that's amazing. If you're someone that's maybe a little bit more motivated and wants to continue to scale, and you're like, I just want to continue to scale and build up to a certain point to build a better future for myself and my future family, as again is what I'm trying to do, then I think that's an amazing thing. I don't think that there's a right or wrong. I have many friends that do well, that choose to spend a lot of their money in clothes, but it's what they appreciate and it's what brings them fulfillment. And again, they earned their money, so therefore they're entitled to do whatever it is that they want with it. I'm in a position where, I don't necessarily appreciate expensive clothes very much, right? So I wear $10, $20 t-shirts, and it's just not something that I see value in. I respect it and I, appreciate it to a point where, I can see why someone, might want to work hard for that. But for myself, I'm a car guy, right? And I also am someone that is always interested in learning more, and I always want to continue to scale and inform myself more about different markets. And that's just the person that I am, and that's what brings me fulfillment. So that's what I decide to do. The amount of people that comment on the idea that I have, 4 supercars and what a bad decision that is, I don't need to prove it to them that I make tens of thousands of dollars off of owning these supercars. I can buy and resell them for a profit, but just as much as I've made profit, of course, I've taken losses. And that's the amazing part, again, about entrepreneurship. It's that you shouldn't be afraid to fail, especially with people that have so much judgment and have so many opinions. People are going to talk regardless. So why not sit down and actually focus your time and your attention and pursue something in which you are actually interested in, because people are going to talk anyways, so why not give them something to actually talk about, and it's at least going to be something that you actually want to pursue. So I just wanted to make this simple video that by me investing in a series of different rental properties, and that's what I decide to do with my money, does not mean that, again, that's the best choice for everyone. I remember one of the first properties that I actually went into as to buy and flip for a profit was a condo, and it was about $65,000 in Mesa, Arizona. And I've gotten up to the point where, again, once you begin to inform yourself a little bit more, and of course begin to do a little bit better, your projects, in a sense like what I just took on today, is now a little bit over $500,000. So it's amazing what you can do over time. Looking back 5 years ago, when it came down to buying my first property, and how that was a $65,000 condo flip, and now in a sense we're flipping $500,000 properties, and hopefully we can continue to scale up into the higher numbers, and again hopefully work towards making a little bit more money. And again, that's just what I like to do with my free time. That's what I like to do with my money. I'm working towards building a better future for myself and sharing my experience with you guys, and hoping that I can be that initial spark that can motivate you just to get you started, to get you one step closer to your overall goal. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. I really hope that I earned your thumbs up. I would love to stay connected. If you guys ever want to connect and join our free investing group, we're the largest one on YouTube and the largest one on Facebook for those that day trade in the stock market. And I'm going to leave that link in the first link in the description. Also, if you guys want to get access to being able to watch me day trade live in the stock market, take 2 or 3 minutes, click the second link down below and learn a little bit more about our Learn Plan Profit group, and inform yourself to see if it's a good fit for you. So I really do appreciate you guys' time. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.